Late-night shopping is a dangerous sport played by insomniacs and people with too much wine. It starts with, "I need this," and ends with, "Why did I buy a tuba?" Here are 49 regret-filled purchases Americans made at 3 a.m. that seemed like genius ideas in the dark but turned into absolute nightmares, or expensive trash the moment the sun came up. 1. We have all needed a confidence boost at some point, but buying a smart mirror at 3 a.m. is asking for trouble. This guy thought the gadget would be like a digital cheerleader. Instead, it was more like a judgmental mother-in-law trapped in glass. Every time he walked past it shirtless, the AI hesitated for a solid second before saying, brave. It wasn't a compliment. It was a calculated algorithmic roast. He has since muted the device, but he swears the pixelated silence is even more judgmental than the voice ever was. 2. Living in a studio apartment the size of a walk-in closet usually rules out open flames, but not for this genius. A woman ordered a romantic indoor fire pit to spice up a date night. The box promised it was smokeless, which was a bold-faced lie. Within 10 minutes, her apartment looked like a Civil War battlefield. The carbon monoxide detector screamed for 15 minutes straight, effectively killing the mood, the date, and her security deposit. The romantic pit is now buried in storage, right next to her dignity. 3. Insomnia leads to desperate measures, and for one guy that meant ordering a sleep hypnosis audio program promising lucid dreams and tranquility. He was expecting gentle ocean waves. What he got was a stern British man whispering, "Release your toes," every 5 minutes for 2 hours. It sounded less like meditation and more like a hostage negotiation. His roommate heard this muffled toe command through the thin walls for 3 nights, assumed he had joined a weird foot cult, and promptly moved out. 4. There is a specific delusion that hits after midnight where you think, "I should get into percussion." A man living in a thin-walled apartment ordered a massive drum circle set to ground his spirit. He set it up at midnight for a spiritual session. It lasted exactly 45 seconds. His upstairs neighbor immediately texted him saying, "If this is a demon summoning, I'm not interested. If you're starting a band, I'm calling the cops." The drums are now very expensive, very silent plant stands. 5. Nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m., especially when you combine a credit card with access to novelty Japanese bathroom fixtures. One man ordered a karaoke toilet seat at 2:17 in the morning because the ad promised it would encourage expressive moments. The horror truly set in a week later when the motion sensor malfunctioned due to humidity. In the dead of night, while the guy was sleeping in the next room, the toilet spontaneously lit up like a disco floor and began whisper singing "Living on a Prayer" to an empty, tiled room. There is nothing quite as terrifying as waking up in a cold sweat to hear Bon Jovi echoing from your plumbing, making you question if your house is haunted or just incredibly tacky. 6. The modern world is a lonely place, which explains why a grown woman spent $50 actual on an emotional support potato from Etsy. It arrived fully equipped with googly eyes, a tiny hand-knitted scarf, and a laminate certificate of reliability. She bought it as a joke, but the punchline is that she actually bonded with the vegetable. She ended up leaving a 5-star review titled "Better Than My Ex," mostly because the potato listens without interrupting and doesn't play video games for 12 hours a day. 7. Health gadgets are a slippery slope into madness. One guy bought a personal air purifier that straps around your head like a sci-fi halo, claiming it makes you untouchable to germs and crowds. He wore it to Target exactly once. Instead of looking safe, he looked like a cyborg tennis player who escaped a low-budget movie set. He overheard a child ask their mom, "Is that man broken?" which shattered his ego instantly. Now it sits in his closet, purifying the air for his old shoes. 8. Advertisements lie, especially the ones for calming mood lights. One man ordered a laser projector promising to simulate the northern lights on his ceiling. He wanted serenity. He got a seizure. The device spun wildly like a manic disco ball while blasting cheap techno music that couldn't be turned off. He didn't find inner peace or spiritual awakening, but he did accidentally invent rave meditation, which is basically just having a mild panic attack while surrounded by cheap lasers. 9. It is amazing what a little insomnia and a doom-scrolling session can do to your credit card. One man found himself deep in a survivalist blog hole at 2 a.m. and panic bought 500 freeze-dried meals. The problem is, he lives in a Brooklyn studio apartment, and his idea of roughing it is when the Wi-Fi goes down. Now, instead of a winter coat, his closet is packed floor-to-ceiling with vacuum-sealed beef stroganoff that expires in 2050. He calls it apocalypse insurance, but we all know he's just going to eat it when he's too lazy to order takeout. 10. We all want to relax, but there is a limit to how much nature we need in our living rooms. A woman ordered a healing animal sounds album featuring whale calls, husky snores, and, inexplicably, possum screams. She decided to debut this masterpiece during a dinner party. Nothing kills an appetite faster than the sonic screech of a marsupial in distress while you're trying to eat lasagna. Her guests didn't just leave, they fled. She hasn't been invited to a potluck since, but she has discovered the ultimate weight loss hack. Play the screaming possum track and watch your hunger vanish. 11. Silicon Valley needs to be stopped before they monetize everything. A man bought a pair of intelligent socks that promise to detect his foot mood and energy levels, whatever that means. Because clearly your toes are the window to your soul. The technology immediately backfired, short-circuiting during the first wear. Instead of tracking his steps, they just beeped randomly for 3 days straight like a dying smoke detector attached to his ankles. He can't turn them off, so now he wears them exclusively to annoy people during family game night. 12. Alcohol and Amazon Prime are a dangerous cocktail that leads to unexplainable logistics. A teacher in Minnesota, after finishing a box of wine, ordered 200 tiny plastic cowboy hats. She doesn't own dolls and she doesn't have pets small enough to wear them. She bought them for her houseplants. By the time the box arrived, she had completely wiped the memory from her brain. She spent her entire Saturday meticulously placing miniature Stetsons on every succulent and fern she owned, explaining to her very concerned neighbors over the fence that it was strictly for morale. Honestly, looking at a cactus wearing a 10-gallon hat really puts things in perspective, specifically that she needs a new hobby. 13. Garden gnomes are already inherently creepy, but this one took it to a new level. Someone bought a solar-powered gnome that was supposed to provide a warm, welcoming glow. Instead, it arrived damaged, missing one eye and possessing a wiring defect that made the light flicker like a strobe. At night, it looked less like a lawn ornament and more like a cursed object sending Morse code messages from the underworld. The neighbors are convinced the yard is haunted, and honestly, based on the gnome's manic blinking, they might be right. 14. In the quest for self-improvement, one guy bought a Bluetooth-enabled smart spoon that tracks bite rhythm. Yes, that is a real thing. It was designed to help with digestion, but in reality, it just buzzed angrily every time he ate too fast. It even sent notifications to his phone suggesting chewing therapy. By day 2, he was having full-blown arguments with a utensil. He eventually switched to drinking smoothies just to spite the spoon, proving that robots can't judge you if you don't chew. 15. Why drink out of a glass when you can pretend to be a medieval warlord? One man bought a set of 20 heavy pewter goblets to feel more regal during hydration. There is a downside to chugging blue Gatorade out of a 5-pound chalice, mostly involving dental damage. After chipping 3 molars and nearly knocking himself unconscious taking a sip, he realized why we invented lightweight glassware. He still uses them, but mostly just to dramatically toast his cat before passing out on the couch. 16. Always check the dimensions before you click buy. A woman impulsively ordered an inflatable dragon for her yard, thinking it was cute. She didn't realize it stood 12 feet tall and possessed a motion sensor that roared at 100 decibels. Every time a dog walked by, the neighborhood sounded like Jurassic Park. The Homeowners Association sent 3 cease and desist letters before she finally deflated the beast. It now lives in the garage, guarding the laundry hamper and scaring the life out of her husband when he goes to find socks. 17. A nurse in Texas proved that exhaustion and wine lead to very strange life choices. After a brutal shift, she decided her true calling was apiary sciences and bought a full beekeeping starter kit. The catch? She has a paralyzing, lifelong fear of bees. She didn't remember this phobia until the crate arrived. The boxes remain completely sealed in her closet, sitting sadly next to an unread book titled "Bee Friends Are the Best Friends." She is now the proud owner of a hive for imaginary bees. 18. We all want to know the future, but a $70 online course is probably not the way to find it. A woman bought a program titled "Become a Professional Fortune Teller in 7 Days." The kit included printable tarot cards on cheap paper, a wand that looked like it was made of glitter glue, and a PDF instruction manual that basically just said, "Trust your vibe." She lasted 48 hours before realizing her psychic intuition was actually just excessive caffeine consumption and a desperate need for a refund. 19. Desperation makes people believe anything. A woman spent $300 on a telepathic communicator from a sketchy New Age website. She expected advanced technology. She received a plastic headband with some copper wires and a glued-on crystal. She tried to test it on her cat, who immediately scratched her, and then on her boyfriend, who immediately moved out. It turns out, the only thing the device successfully communicated was that she makes terrible financial decisions. It's now a very expensive dust collector. Dust. 20. We all want to know what our pets are thinking, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. One guy spent $99 on a gadget claiming to translate dog barks into English. He was expecting "I love you" or "feed me." Instead, the first time his pug barked, the robotic voice translated it as "I am judging you." He immediately returned the device, terrified that the machine was actually working. He says the dog hasn't barked since, but it definitely looks at him with a lot more smugness than before. 21. Working from home drove everyone a little crazy, but this guy took it too far. He thought it would be hilarious to buy a professional-grade fog machine to spice up his morning Zoom calls. His plan was to enter the meeting like a rock star emerging from the mist. The execution was a disaster. He accidentally triggered the building's smoke alarm in the middle of a quarterly performance review. Instead of a promotion, he earned a mandatory meeting with HR about workplace professionalism and a heavy fine from the fire department. 22. Nostalgia is a powerful drug, and it makes you do stupid, expensive things. A woman fell into a late-night internet hole and purchased a life-size animatronic Chuck E. Cheese figure from a liquidation auction. She convinced herself it would be quirky vintage decor for her game room. That illusion shattered the first night it arrived. At 3 a.m., the rat's plastic eyelids started clicking open and closed on their own due to faulty wiring. It wasn't quirky, it was absolutely demonic. The robot is now wrapped in a heavy-duty tarp, locked in a basement closet she refers to as the cursed room, and she is currently looking for a priest willing to perform an exorcism on a pizza mascot. 23. Finding the motivation to exercise is hard, so one guy decided to outsource his willpower to a robot. He bought a mechanical cheetah toy that was programmed to chase him during his morning jogs. He envisioned a high-speed predator situation. In reality, the thing rolled about 3 feet before glitching and spinning in frantic circles like a confused vacuum cleaner. He gave up on the running entirely. He started filming the robot's pathetic failures instead. And naturally, those videos got more views than any of his workout updates ever did. 24. Late-night shopping runs on serotonin, not logic. A woman purchased a massive llama-shaped hammock stand at 1 a.m. simply because the picture made her smile. She failed to read the specs. When the delivery truck arrived, she realized the thing was 10 feet wide, weighed 200 pounds, and was physically impossible to fit through her front door. She lives in a regular house, not an aircraft hangar. The llama now lives disassembled on her front porch, rusting away like a tragic, broken dream from the Andes. 25. There are scams, and then there is paying money to have someone read the mind of a carp. Someone booked an online pet psychic session for their goldfish. The reading was conducted entirely via email. The psychic claimed the fish was deeply emotional, saying it missed the old pebbles and dreamt of a bigger castle. The buyer realized the real scam wasn't the psychic taking the money. It was the horrifying realization that for a split second, they actually believed their goldfish had complex architectural aspirations. 26. Waking up is hard enough without a machine screaming at you. A woman bought a motivational alarm clock designed to start her day with positivity. She underestimated the volume settings. At 6 a.m., the device shrieked, "You are powerful," with the acoustic force of a jet engine. The vibration knocked a framed picture off the wall and terrified her dog so badly it hid in the bathtub for an hour. The clock now sits unplugged in a drawer, silently judging her for not being powerful enough to handle the volume. 27. The supplement industry is a wild place. A man bought a gallon of something called liquid motivation from a sketchy nootropic website, hoping to boost his brain function. He claims it tasted exactly like melted batteries mixed with regret. It did absolutely nothing to improve his focus or intelligence. However, he did note that the intense feeling of shame for spending $50 on snake oil technically counts as heightened awareness, so maybe the product actually worked after all. 28. We all miss the movie theater experience, but bringing it home is a logistical nightmare. Someone bought an authentic, industrial-sized popcorn machine from a theater liquidation auction. The listing conveniently forgot to mention that the machine stands 6 feet tall and sounds like a lawnmower when it's running. You can't watch a movie with this thing on unless you turn the volume up to ear-bleeding levels. It now lives in the garage, humming faintly in the corner like a haunted snack ghost that smells like old butter. 29. Urban farming is a trendy hobby that usually ends in disaster. A woman bought a deluxe mushroom growing kit that promised gourmet fungi in just 7 days. She followed the instructions perfectly. Not a single edible mushroom sprouted. However, she did manage to cultivate a terrifyingly impressive colony of black mold that looked like a miniature haunted forest. She was too scared to open the box to clean it out, so she just threw the whole thing away before the science experiment gained sentience and attacked her. 30. Irony is a dangerous game to play with government paperwork. A man ordered a personalized license plate that read "Neo-Regrets," a reference to a famous comedy movie tattoo. He thought it was hilarious. The DMV did not get the joke. They auto-corrected his application. Now, he drives a minivan that earnestly says, "No regrets," spelled correctly. He has to drive around town looking like a motivational speaker who is trying way too hard, forever branded by a typo he actually approved. 31. Trust issues in a shared apartment usually involve passive-aggressive sticky notes, not law enforcement technology. Someone impulse bought a personal polygraph test, convinced it was the only way to finally settle disputes with their roommate. They set it up for a trial run. The very first control question asked, "Did you eat the last slice of pizza?" The machine beeped twice, indicating a lie. They realized they were the ones on trial, packed the machine back up, and returned it before the roommate got home. 32. The intersection of spirituality and kitchen appliances is a weird place. A guy bought a set of energy-balancing magnets for his refrigerator. The packaging promised they would keep his food fresh and create happier leftovers. A week later, he reported that his lasagna still looked grumpy, and his eggs had mysteriously vanished. He strongly suspects the magnets opened a portal to another dimension, but it's more likely his roommate just ate them while he was busy trying to align the chakras of his produce drawer. 33. Digital wellness products are the modern equivalent of magic beans. One woman purchased a $60 audio playlist titled Space Energy Reboot. It claimed to charge her aura with cosmic frequencies. She put on her headphones, expecting relaxation. Instead, a voice whispered, "Let the void take you," over a track of heavy static. It wasn't relaxing. It was the soundtrack to a psychological thriller. She has since deleted the files and decided that standard rain sounds and scented candles are probably safer for her soul. 34. A man bought a professional-grade teeth whitening kit that used blue LED technology. The box said, "Leave on for 10 minutes," but he fell asleep for an hour. He woke up with teeth so aggressively white they practically glow in the dark. He now looks like a radioactive Cheshire cat every time he smiles. He has to drink coffee through a straw not to stain them, but honestly, he's just blinding people in traffic at this point. 35. Lawn care is backbreaking work, which is why this genius outsourced it to a high-end robotic lawnmower he affectionately named Grass E. The relationship ended tragically when the robot went rogue during a firmware update. It broke through the electronic perimeter wire, crossed the street like a soldier on a mission, and methodically destroyed the neighbor's prize-winning petunias. The machine was eventually found 3 blocks away, stuck in a gutter, spinning its wheels while trying to mow solid asphalt. The neighbor is currently holding the robot hostage in her garage until damages are paid. And the guy is back to using a manual push mower in absolute shame while the neighborhood watches. 36. Coffee is supposed to wake you up, not burn your house down. A man ordered a voice-activated espresso machine for luxury mornings. The AI, however, had the listening comprehension of a brick. It misunderstood every single command. The breaking point came when he asked for a light roast, and the machine responded by spewing boiling water onto the counter without a cup underneath. His kitchen floor now smells like burnt beans and deep regret, and he has gone back to the safety of a manual French press that doesn't try to kill him. 37. Escapism is expensive and often backfires. One woman bought a high-tech projector designed to turn her ceiling into a swirling galaxy of stars. It worked beautifully for about 10 minutes until it automatically synced with her smartphone via Bluetooth. Instead of drifting off to sleep under the Milky Way, she woke up in a cold sweat, staring at a giant, glowing reminder on the ceiling that read, "Dentist tomorrow at 9 a.m." Nothing ruins a cosmic journey quite like a root canal reminder projected in high-definition nebula colors. 38. Bad posture is a plague. So a woman bought a smart wearable device that vibrates violently whenever you slouch. She forgot she was wearing it during a very quiet, very serious library study session. Every time she leaned over a book, her back buzzed like a giant hornet. After the 3rd buzz, a librarian shushed her so aggressively that she panicked, slouched harder, and set off a continuous vibration that forced her to sprint out of the building. 39. Smart jewelry is a genuine threat to your social life. A person bought a wireless mood ring that claimed to track emotions and sync with a phone app. It worked a little too well. During a moment of sadness, the ring decided to auto-text the user's ex-partner with the message, "I'm feeling vulnerable." This feature was definitively not listed on the box. They now describe the experience as accidental emotional terrorism. The ring has been destroyed, but the embarrassment of that text will last significantly longer than the battery life. 40. Typos are funny online. They are tragic when you buy 500 of them. A guy bought an entire roll of custom motivational stickers to place on his bathroom mirror. They were supposed to say, "Keep going," to boost his morale. However, due to a printing error, or a bored factory worker, every single sticker arrived reading "Keep Dong" in bold, Comic Sans font. Is it inspiring? Maybe, if your name is Dong. Is it confusing for guests? Absolutely. He kept them up because, honestly, it's still better than Live, Laugh, Love. 41. The dream of becoming an adventure influencer often crashes into reality with high-speed impact. A man bought a self-flying camera drone to film his morning runs, envisioning epic cinematic shots like in the Nike commercials. Instead, the drone's follow mode glitched and locked onto a passing garbage truck immediately after takeoff. He spent 20 minutes sprinting down the street in his pajamas, chasing the sanitation department while his expensive gadget filmed a cinematic masterpiece of a dumpster. He never got the drone back, but the garbage men got a free camera and he got the cardio workout of a lifetime, which is technically what he wanted in the first place. 42. Always read the fine print on international shipping orders. A Florida man bought what he thought was a heavily discounted telescope for stargazing. When the heavy package arrived, it wasn't a telescope. It was a military-grade night vision scope that is strictly illegal for civilian export or ownership. The FBI didn't kick down his door, but he did receive a very friendly phone call asking why he needed tactical gear. He quickly explained he just wanted to look at the moon, not overthrow a small government. 43. The internet makes us do weird things for validation. One man ordered a novelty blanket shaped like a giant flour tortilla. He wrapped himself in it, curled up on the couch, and posted a photo. He went viral for looking like a confused human bean burrito. The internet fame faded within 48 hours, as it always does, but the regret remains. He is now known among his friends and family simply as Burrito Man. The blanket is warm, but the social stigma is absolutely chilling. 44. Gardening requires patience, which is something you typically don't have at 2:47 a.m. A guy impulse bought a DIY bonsai tree kit, promised inner calm in miniature form. He envisioned a peaceful Miyagi-style hobby. 2 weeks later, all he has to show for it is a dried-up twig, a pile of spilled soil on his desk, and a complex about why nature refuses to cooperate with him. He has since decided that plastic plants provide just as much inner peace with significantly less death. 45. Late-night movie marathons lead to strange purchasing decisions. A guy ordered 200 personalized pencils that all read, "I am inevitable." He later admitted he had no idea why he did this, other than being in a Thanos mood at the time. Now he is stuck with a lifetime supply of villainous stationery. Every time he takes notes during a cheerful office meeting, he is forced to confront the heavy philosophical weight of a Marvel supervillain monologue while writing down the lunch order. 46. Podcasters give terrible advice. A man bought an ergonomic office chair shaped like a horse saddle because a health guru claimed cowboy posture increases productivity. It turns out cowboys didn't sit at desks for 8 hours a day for a reason. After 3 hours of sliding off the leather and yelling "yeehaw" in frustration just to stay awake, he accepted defeat. Chairs shouldn't need stirrups. He is now back to a regular chair that doesn't require inner thigh strength just to answer emails. 47. The allure of buried treasure is strong, but the reality is usually just tetanus. One man bought a high-end metal detector, convinced he'd find buried Civil War gold in his backyard. After 3 weekends of destroying his lawn, his total haul consists of 14 rusty nails, a soda tab from 1998, and a property line dispute with his neighbor. He hasn't found his fortune, but he has successfully lowered his property value by digging random holes everywhere, making his yard look like it was attacked by aggressive gophers. 48. Patriotism tastes terrible. A guy ordered a replica of the Declaration of Independence printed on edible wafer paper. He had grand plans to eat history on the 4th of July, as some sort of weird performance art. But when it arrived in February, impulse took over. He ate a founding document on a Tuesday. It turns out, powdered ink and artificial parchment taste exactly how you would expect, like licking an old textbook. He learned nothing about freedom, but a lot about indigestion. 49. Hydration is important, but being yelled at by a plastic bottle is unnecessary. A woman ordered a smart water bottle designed to lecture you if you don't drink enough. She took it to a silent yoga class. In the middle of deep meditation, the bottle started blinking red, vibrating violently, and loudly announced, "Hydrate or deteriorate." The entire class glared at her. She didn't find Zen, but she did find a new paperweight that reminds her of her unresolved trauma every time she looks at it. Look around your room right now. I'm serious. Find the single dumbest object you spent actual money on and tell me exactly what it is and how much you wasted in the comments. I want to see who made the worst financial decision here. If this video made you feel better about your own spending habits, hit that like button and subscribe before you accidentally order something else you don't need.